Hi, I'm Taylor with Mom on the Spectrum, and in today's video, we're covering invisible autistic struggles. I made a video over this a while ago that received a lot of really positive feedback from the community and thousands of comments. So I've gone through those to add to our list, and I'm excited to share them with you today. One reason that I love talking about these things is because it's truly one of the greatest things that has come from my autism diagnosis is hearing other people in the community put challenges into words that helped me realize things I've struggled with that I've never even realized, like, "Oh, yeah, it's not supposed to be that hard," or, "Yeah, I struggle with that too, but I never would have had words to communicate it." So, I hope that you have some of those moments today as we go through this list. If you could like this video, if it's helpful to you, and subscribe to the channel, that seriously makes such a difference, and I appreciate it so much. Our first category here is cognitive access and full brain shutdown. So here are some invisible struggles in this category. Not being able to access full thinking or creativity when someone else is home. Mental clarity only returns in solitude or at night when everyone's asleep. I've heard some people talk about this and like they'll stay up really late because it's the only time when they feel like they can think clearly or have space to themselves. The mere possibility of interaction can hijack our mental bandwidth. A lot of times we feel like there's constant alertness for potential interruptions, and this can block our flow and creativity. Having someone in our space, and I love this point that was sent in by someone in the comments, having someone in our space can trigger service mode, which feels like monitoring other people's needs instead of your own. Maybe you can't focus or complete tasks when others are nearby. Your brain stops functioning when being watched or supervised, which we kind of talked about this in the connection groups that I run this week. Isn't there like this theory in quantum physics that things behave differently once they're watched, like once they're observed? So I feel like there's got to be some connection there. Autistic people like take that and run with it and let me know in the comments. Okay, and I love this point as well that someone put into words. It feels like your consciousness shrinks around people and unfurls when alone. I resonate with that so much. And before we get to our second section, just a quick reminder that these are just generalizations. They're not going to apply to every autistic person. Second section here is sensory cross-wiring. So the idea of, I can't hear you, the lights are too bright. Noise, light, and movement all compete, and sometimes we can only handle one sensory channel at a time. We might feel the need to close our eyes to talk in noisy spaces to block excess input. And I know some people in the community who like to wear sunglasses in noisy spaces or in bright spaces because it helps reduce some of the sensory overwhelm. There's also this feeling of constant sensory vigilance around others that can drain our energy. And this just came up while I was saying this. If you're someone who deals with OCD, like myself, I can be hypervigilant about where other people are like putting their hands or trash or sticky substances or liquids. It's like I'm very hyper aware of my environment and like keeping myself safe. So there's a lot of hypervigilance there. Feeling uncomfortable in your own skin from overstimulation. This happens so often as an autistic experience for myself and many in our community, where it's like sometimes it doesn't feel like there's a safe place because even your own body is so overstimulated that you just want to crawl out of it. Another challenge that's really common to autistic individuals that's not necessarily invisible, but sleep challenges. That's something that a lot of us deal with. So I wanted to share one of my new favorite products that helps me with sleep. This is from Manta Sleep, which some of you have heard me talk about before. And this is their new sound mask. So if you like going to sleep with like white noise or brown noise, let me know in the comments what your favorite color of noise is, because I'm sure my autistic people have a preference. So this mask in particular is their sound mask, and it is designed to be super lightweight, so it really feels almost like you have nothing on your face. And I'm very particular, and this thing feels so comfortable on my face. The eye cups are awesome. They're velcroed, so you can readjust and find the perfect shape to fit your face. This mask can help with light sensitivity at night. It blocks out, the 360, this goes all the way around. It blocks out all light. And then the Bluetooth speakers on the side, because I've had sleep masks before, like Bluetooth masks that I can't tolerate because you can feel the little speaker on the side. Not with these. So I will put a link in the description, and I also have a discount code that you can use that I'll put in the description as well. So check those out. Okay, back to our list. We're on the third section here of invisible struggles with social energy and masking. Some of us feel like we have different selves or masks for different contexts. And when different worlds collide, it's like a short circuit. So if you've been to a birthday party where like your coworkers are mixed with your family and your best friend, it's kind of like this feeling of paralysis, at least for me. There's something about when worlds collide and there's different groups of people interacting together with different dynamics. It's like my brain short circuits. It often feels like you can't truly set the mask down or take it off until you're really alone. It's hard to know how to end conversations smoothly or know when to speak up. Absolutely. So difficult. Once I start saying something in a group setting, it's like, no, like trying to trail off and, okay, how do I find my way out of what I just started? It can feel so difficult. And then knowing when to speak up, it feels like when somebody is doing jump rope and you're trying to figure out like when to jump in, it's, I overthink it and then trip on the rope, metaphorically. You might feel like you need to over explain everything to avoid being misunderstood. You might have difficulty interpreting or expressing nuanced emotions. So, standard words like sad or happy might feel too shallow for the complexity of what you're feeling. So, rather than being able to communicate about how you're feeling, you don't really have words. You might feel invisible or dismissed because you appear calm or you joke through your pain. I have had, oh my gosh, just a brutal experience this past year with healthcare because if I've been in like constant chronic pain that I've been trying to share with the community a bit more, potentially related to endometriosis. And unless I even if I'm like crying, I don't know, it feels like I'm not taken seriously with my pain. And so I don't know what to do sometimes to communicate the depth, of these emotions and feelings and pain that I'm feeling. And I know that I'm not alone in that. We also sometimes feel like we need time alone after socializing to unmerge from other people's energy. That is such a great way to put it. Again, I love the way y'all are putting things into words because it's helping me make sense of my own experiences. So thank you. Our next section here is communication and language processing, invisible struggles. The need to finish every thought. Conversations drift before ideas are complete, and that can feel infuriating. My son experiences this a lot. If he can't finish every thought, I see the physical pain that he is in from not being able to complete those thoughts. Trouble keeping stories concise because context matters, right? But I am not a good storyteller, and I know that I'm not, and I hear myself telling a story. This is not to say that autistic people are not good storytellers, because there's some that are just fascinating, wonderful storytellers. But if I'm just trying to recount something that happened during the day, good luck. Good luck following it because I'm going to think of more context that I need to interject before I can actually tell you the important thing. Mix metaphors, idioms, or languages. We invent new ones accidentally. Idioms are so wild to me, and sometimes I find myself using them in videos, and I'll listen back sometimes. I'm like, I think I invented that idiom because that doesn't make any sense, and I think I mixed two. My brain is just like has trouble with those. Struggle to follow verbal instructions or multi-part questions. That's a big autistic struggle. Often misunderstood when speaking metaphorically. Okay, so there's a lot, you can see there's a lot of connections that can be made between these points. And needing extra time to process emotions before responding. That is so important for autistic people. So sometimes it might seem like we're uncaring or unresponsive when really we're just processing so much information that we need to kind of sort through on our own before we can get back to you. Okay, our next section here is conversation and interaction struggles. Giving overly detailed corrections or factual precision that can be misread as rudeness. So, oftentimes in our brain, we have a hard time proceeding with a conversation if we don't fact check something. And that is a lot of weight to carry. Like, I understand that it can come across as frustrating on the other side, but there's kind of like this propulsion in the autistic brain of fact checking, and we don't mean it in a rude way. It's just kind of this like a check that our brain has on the whole system of processing things. We have to fact check. It's hard to tolerate being perceived while eating or performing tasks. Absolutely. And then the last one on here is social hierarchy confusion. Social hierarchies, business hierarchies, like oftentimes they don't make sense to us. Maybe the person at the top has just as many qualifications as the person underneath. And so oftentimes autistic individuals have communicated to me that they really struggle with the hierarchical structure of things because they'll say or do something that doesn't work within that structure and they get punished or berated for it, laughed at, mocked. But hierarchies, a lot of times for the autistic brain, it just doesn't make sense. And I think it's because my perspective is that a lot of us just tend to see humans as equal, beautiful beings, like all worthy of respect and attention. I don't know. It just there's something there where it just feels like to me that we should be giving each person equal weight. Maybe y'all can help me put my words to that in the comments if you feel similarly or kind of know where I'm going with that. My brain hasn't quite decided how it wants to finish that thought. Okay, 3 more sections here. This one, actually 4 bonus. This one is responsibility hypervigilance. Feeling responsible for everyone's comfort, emotions, or safety, even strangers. Experiencing responsibility anxiety, or somebody said hypogenophobia, which is the fear of responsibility. Can't focus until others' needs are met or situations are safe. Yes. The next point is how caregiving, parenting, or hosting might drain mental energy exponentially. This is absolutely true for me. And my mother is like the best host in the entire world. So I've watched her host a million things. I know how to do it and I can do it well. But the amount of mental and emotional energy that takes from me is just monumentally huge. That's not to say that I don't like it or enjoy it, because I do under certain circumstances. It just takes a lot out of me. And then feeling like you must anticipate or prevent harm before it happens. That's a big job. The next section here is pain, body, and medical miscommunication. Under expressing pain, appearing fine even when in crisis, masking during emergencies that can lead to dismissal by medical staff, the needing to perform pain more dramatically to be believed. Absolutely. This has been me. And then I'm like, I feel like I'm faking it, but then I'm like, no, I really need to let them know how much pain I'm in, and I don't know how to do that. I don't know. Calmness under stress can hide urgency or severity of symptoms. I am really, really calm under stress, and sometimes that leads to others not understanding how urgent the situation is. Second to last section here is environment and routine dependence. Sometimes we can only clean, create, or think clearly when alone. Having anyone in your home can change your entire mental state. Repetitive clothing choices for sensory comfort, that can be a big struggle. Waking up every day and trying to decide what to wear can be agonizing for some of us. And some of us just opt to, one person in our community said she bought like 5 of the same outfit and she just wakes up and knows exactly what she's going to wear. And that has really decreased that struggle for her. Trouble with transitions like escalators or unexpected noise. Oh my gosh, I am just reading this one for the first time and I struggle with escalators. Oh my gosh, thank you for saying that, because you're not alone in that. Okay, and then the last point here is needing predictable solitude to recharge and function. And then our last section, again, thank you so much for joining me for this video. If it has been helpful, if you could like the video and subscribe, that would mean a lot to me. Our last section is emotional and existential layers. So the chronic feeling of being too much or too responsible or oversensitive or overthinking. Confusion between detail-focused and big picture thinking styles. Feeling alienated from typical emotional language or relational norms. It's kind of like standing on the other side of a glass sometimes, looking and watching everybody else who seem to be getting it and just feeling like we're off or not included somehow. And then relief and identity or clarity found only in solitude or late at night. Thanks to everyone who sent in invisible struggles for this list. Let me know in the comments if there's others that you feel should be included, and maybe we'll do a part 3. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to check out the description so you can get your very own Manta Sleep mask, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.